Okay, we're about to start chapter 24, which is titled The Accident. When we last left off in chapter 23, Roz was helping Fink the wounded fox get all of the quills out of his face from his run-in with the porcupine. And he ended the chapter by saying, "Thanks, Roz, I owe you one." The Accident. As Roz wandered through springtime, she saw all the different ways that animals entered the world. She saw birds guarding their eggs like treasures until the chicks finally hatched. She saw deer give birth to fawns who were up and running in a matter of minutes. Many newborns were greeted by loving families. Some were on their own from their very first breath. And, as you're about to find out, a few poor goslings would never even get a chance to hatch. Roz was climbing down one of the forest cliffs when the accident happened. The wind started blowing out of the north, and suddenly clouds were rushing over the island. With the clouds came a spring shower. A downpour, actually. And there was our robot, clamping her hands onto a wet block of stone on the side of a cliff. But the block couldn't handle the extra weight. And as the heavy robot hung there, cracks suddenly shot through the stone and it started breaking apart. Down went the robot, plummeting into the treetops below. She crashed through branch after branch before finally hooking an arm around one. Then she dangled there, gently swinging as rocks roared past her on their way to the forest floor. When the dust settled, Roz shimmied down the tree trunk. The ground was littered with broken rocks and splintered wood and pulverized shrubs. And within all that rubble was a goose nest that had been torn to shreds. 2 dead geese and 4 smashed eggs lay among the carnage. The robot stared at it with her softly glowing eyes, and something clicked deep inside her computer brain. Roz realized she had caused the deaths of an entire family of geese. Chapter 25 is titled The Egg. As Roz stood in the rain, staring down at those poor lifeless geese, her sensitive ears detected a faint peeping sound coming from somewhere nearby. She followed the peeps over to a clump of wet leaves on the ground, and when she peeled back the leaves, she discovered a single perfect goose egg sunk in the mud. "Mama! Mama!" peeped a tiny muffled voice from within the egg. The robot gently cradled the fragile thing in her hand. Without a family, the unhatched gosling inside would surely die. Roz knew that some animals had to die for others to live. That was how the wilderness worked. But would she allow her accident to cause the death of yet another gosling? After a moment, the robot started to walk. Carefully holding the egg, she moved through the forest and away from the sad scene. But she didn't get far before Fink burst out from the bushes. "What happened?" the fox panted. "The whole forest was shaking." "There was an accident," said the robot. "I was climbing those cliffs when the rocks started to fall." "You should be more careful," said Fink as he checked out the robot's new scrapes and dents. "I'll need your help if I ever have more porcupine trouble." "I will be more careful." "What do you have there?" said Fink, looking up at Roz's hands. "A goose egg." "Oh, I love eggs. Can I eat it?" "No." "Please?" "No." "Why do you want it?" the fox scowled. "I thought you didn't eat food." "You may not have this egg, Fink." The fox sighed. Then he scratched his chin. Then he started sniffing the breeze. His nose had found the scent of the dead geese. "You can keep your egg," he said, as he trotted towards the cliffs. "I smell something better." And here's the illustration of the egg lying in those leaves. The robot walked on through the misty forest for a long time, until she was standing beneath a sprawling oak tree. Roz placed the egg on a pad of moss. Then she snatched grass and twigs from the ground and delicately wove them together to make a little nest. She placed the egg inside the nest, placed the nest on her flat shoulder, and climbed up into the branches. And we're going to stop there because the next chapter is a little long. The next chapter, chapter 26, is titled The Performer.